with Banyana Banyana. So, back to Banyana Banyana. Like I said, 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup is taking place in Australia and New Zealand, starting today. It actually started today with New Zealand playing Norway, and it's going to end on the 20th of August. We've spoken over the past few weeks over how the treatment of Banyana Banyana was just criminal by the South African Football Association, Safa, and the way that they've treated these ladies in terms of their pay, in terms of their rights to go to the World Cup, their places in the team, and all of that stuff. It all came to a head a couple of weeks ago when the Safa threatened to get rid of all of the players and pick a whole new team. This was happening on the same day that we're playing a friendly versus Botswana. And a whole different team of youngsters who had never played together were forced to go and play that game, including a 13-year-old who played on the left wing, right? Then, days after that, we find out that the Motsepe Foundation has come out and guaranteed the ladies 230,000 Rand each per player as a bonus on top of what money they were going to get from FIFA. FIFA set aside an amount of around 30,000, if I'm not mistaken, per player, $30,000 per player. And this is what the players would get just for taking part in this competition. So it is guaranteed monies, but Banyana Banyana wasn't guaranteed this money, nor were they guaranteed bonuses. Now, any national team that goes into a World Cup, especially one in South Africa that hasn't been able, a South African national setup that hasn't been able to qualify for these things. We finally have one that qualified, and the Motsepe Foundation came in and said, guys, we're going to set aside money to give to you guys as players, 230,000, and everything seemed hunky-dory. They flew out to Australia and New Zealand, only to find out last week that there's still a lot of issues regarding this thing. Also to find out that Banyana Banyana players up to a couple of days ago had not signed the contract proposed because Safa was withholding the 115,000 that they had promised, that was promised during the press conference with the Motsepe Foundation to the technical team. So Desiree Ellis and her team, right? They were promised 115,000, half of what each player from the actual starting football team and the football team would get, right? So Safa had said that never in their history would they donate, would they give money to to the technical staff. It's never been a thing that Safa does. And there was a standoff between Banyana Banyana again with Safa after the players basically said, we're not going to go out up until you guys pay the technical staff as well, right? Now, Utembi Khatan has given an update on this, saying that they've decided, they haven't come to a full agreement, but because the World Cup, their first match in the World Cup is going to be on Sunday, they've decided to play. And that's going to be a very interesting thing on how this plays out going forward. I don't know if Motsepe Foundation is going to come in and fight them and fight for them again, but we'll see what happens. Let's see. Real Man 325 says, did Banyana win the Women's AFCON? Yes. Last year, we won the WAFCON 2022. We are the African champions going into this World Cup. And on the World Cup as a whole, we have been placed in Group G, where we have Sweden, Italy, and Argentina. Sweden is ranked third in the world of women's football. Argentina is ranked 28th, and then Italy is ranked 16th. So we're going into a bit of a group of death. So it doesn't make sense for Safa to, on top of all of that, also put pressures on money and strikes and all of that stuff on top of these ladies' heads after they've done so well to qualify us for this competition. I'm going to open up the panel. So like I said, the first discussion is going to be around the Banyana Banyana and the World Cup. And then we're going to go into quickfire questions to allow more people to interact with this. How the quickfire is going to work is I'm going to allow a panel in. Each panel is going to get 2 questions, one from overseas, it could be anything, and one from locally, that could also be anything. And then we'll let you guys have your thoughts around that in a round. Second round, open up a new panel to allow more people in and be a little bit fair. So remember, you have to be following me in order to jump on there. Let me just open that. Let's check. Okay, let's see. Okay. Got my first requester in, guys. There's 3 more spaces. So please let me know. Join the thing, follow me, and then join the panel. Agent 007 SA. How are you doing, my brother?
I'm good. The month is refusing to end,
It doesn't end now.
Yeah.
Mandela extended it this July. Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
What do you think of this situation with Banyana Banyana and Safa?
This one is a tricky one, I don't think it's as black as white as the other issue that they raised.
Okay.
So let's try and get. I mean, I think there should be a discussion between me and you. What's the use of bonuses? Like generally, let's not go to Banyana. What is the use of bonuses in football?
Yeah.
I think they are to motivate players. And appearance fee. I think that is from FIFA is saying, in case you get injured, you're not injured for nothing. So what do you think are the what are bonuses for?
I think in this case, it's not necessarily a performance thing. I think in the case of Banyana Banyana, what they're arguing, and I stand to be corrected, what they're arguing is, as the only team that you guys have to make it to a World Cup, right? There should be something extra that you give to us on top of, because just like Bafana Bafana has the appearance fees, but then also they have the fee that you get from FIFA, right? So over and above that, why don't you give these ladies who earn way less than their male counterparts, why don't you give them a little something to say, you know what, guys, because you guys qualified for this thing, thank you. Here's the bonus. Here's some money on top of the other one, just to say, you know what, guys, go out there and do us proud. If that makes sense. What do you think?
Yes, that could be that, and I don't mind that. Now, hence I'm saying it's not black and white, because now what they're asking for is for the technical staff. And I'm not sure if technical staff. I'm not being cynical. Do they deserve it? What risk are they? What else is it? Taking? By going with Bafana there. And because they are professional, let's say for example, medical doctors, is the gap that they get paid between them and the men's field the same? I mean that different, that they deserve that extra money, So I'm not sure I'm in agreement with this part of the fight of them, because I think the staff are employees of Safa,
Okay.
So I don't think that difference is, unless someone can give us figures that a medical doctor for Banyana is different payment from medical team of Bafana, and the difference that is huge, that they deserve an extra motivation. But what extra motivation are they being given to do that job?
Yeah, I think part of the issue here is that these arguments were not raised by Safa when the Motsepe Foundation gave over the money. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So during the press conference, it was said, Guti, the players are each going to get 230,000, and then the technical staff are going to get 115,000, right? Danny Jordaan was there, Safa was represented, Motsepe Foundation was represented, South African Football Players Union was there, everybody was there. But now, all of a sudden, Safa's going, hey guys, hey, Tina, we don't have a policy for that. So won't you feel as though the wool was pulled over your eyes if we agreed on something before we left? And then when we get to that side and it's, 4 or 5 days before they need to go play, Safa goes, you know what, guys, gate, we're not going to give you that money. Oh, whatever we agreed is now not that.
I think I'm not. I might be wrong. I think Abuti is here. Uncle Malome is here. That was the statement made by the players' union. Remember those guys were making they were like two different powers. This one was making a statement. This was making a statement. And I want to assume Safa came back and said, what those guys said does not correlate to what we thought we agreed to.
Okay.
I mean, I don't mind the coach. The coach deserves the coach, assistant coach, and other analysts. They deserve that bonuses. But as for the medical staff, your physios and others, I think Banyana would miss me on this one. I'm not sure.
Okay. No, I hear you. Let me bring in Malume Kutso. Malume Kutso. How are you doing, my brother?
Not so well, trying to recover from a long-term injury.
Long-term injury, no, it's on.
No, I've got some serious flu right now, plus load shedding. I can't even join in the evening.
Oh, okay, no stress. Get better, my brother. What do you think of this situation? Banyana Banyana and Safa still fighting.
Yeah, it's puzzling, but it's a bitter pill to swallow. But a pinch of salt. People are fighting for 150K. I mean, 115K as a bonus. Hey, guys, I want to know why these people and support staff. I must join there. I'm ready to massage people, guys. I think at first, not necessarily at first, but I'll just put it that at first I was with Banyana Banyana for them as players. And I really hope they make us proud, besides the share the bonus. But support staff, how do you argue for that? Like the previous caller just said, the previous guy just said,
guys, it's fine.
I'm with agent, guys. Can't the bonus again? We should differentiate between salary and bonus. Bonus is, from my understanding, bonus cannot be mandatory unless if it's based on performance or from here you go up there. Is there no two-way also? Because at this point, people need to be held responsible. It can't be a one-way already just because we are there. I'm thinking if they don't do well, Julius.
Yeah, man. Listen, it's fine. Let's meet it.
I'm thinking if they don't perform, what then happens? What's the ramifications of that? I guess we are fighting with them, or they must get what they deserve. If we get embarrassed, because there's a real possibility our first game we might get 6. I don't think people understand how difficult of a team Sweden is. We really might get Boma 6-7.
Number 3 in the world. Right now.
Well, I understand. At least we've got Linda, who I think plays in that league, so she might be exposed to certain players. But I know our backline is not really the best. I remember right back, so I think it's Mpahlele. She was struggling go AFCON. So I'm asking myself, what happens if we lose badly? Are they punished in any way since they're now fighting for unnecessary bonuses? I don't think support staff should be getting those bonuses. But they should just mash up the span.
What do you say? Sorry, go on.
No, I know I sound unpatriotic to the cause right now. But
no, it's a real convo.
Yeah, because I don't think 150. I mean, 115 per person. How many people are those? I understand Coach Des, and I actually thought Coach Des would be counted as part of the players because her performance is tangible, it's measurable. If I'm a doctor and we win 5-0, what's my contribution? If I'm a doctor and we lose 5-0, what's my contribution there? It really can be based on how the team performs, but how the doctor performs. Do I have to wait for Tanziki Minyo repairs Dibe injured? So that I can showcase my skill of how quick I can massage a player and have a player back on the field? I really think backroom staff should be just asking for a salary as per agreement. With this one, I'm with Safa.
So then, what do you say to then Safa not raising this in any of the conversations they had? and, allegedly, let me say allegedly, not raising these things in the conversations they had with the Motsepe Foundation, with Banyana, with the Players Union, seemingly agreeing with it. And then all of a sudden, when they get that side, that's when Safa says, "Hi guys, Mara. Here's the Glendaba, I'm party guy."
No, it's an error on their part that they did not discuss it. But
is it an error, or is it I'm going to make you happy so that we can get past this issue? And then when we get into the week before you have to go play, it's going to play out. It's going to play out the way it played out now, where the Banyana players went, "Hey, you know what? Let's set this aside and we're going to go play. We're not happy, but you know."
Well, I get what you mean. It actually, it's the situation, Yabo. I think Delron Barkley and Bope anyway, just before the game against Spain, they were called in to say, "Okay, you guys are going to get your bonuses, but local players are not getting anything." They're very much capable of that, to say, "Yeah, totally fine." Then last minute, they're like, actually, we're not giving everyone, we're giving to certain people. But in this case, in principle, not by conduct. In principle, I'm with Safa on this one. And someone just asked, would CEOs get performance bonuses because of work done by employees? Yeah, that's tangible. CEOs also get backlash for work not done by employees. You understand?
But wouldn't you say for the support staff, for example, because I'm the doctor, it doesn't just mean that I do X, Y, and Z. They're deep in the planning, how to keep these ladies correct, the dietitians, there's all those things. They have to make sure facilities, they have to make sure these people are on par. You know, I know we joke about the masseuses and things like that, but every day they're part and parcel of what this team does, if that makes sense.
It does, actually. I was watching this podcast by interview one of Pitso's men, and he said he should not be confused for a fitness trainer. He's not a fitness trainer, he's a fitness coach. A fitness coach should know what level of fitness, what type of fitness a player would want. I mean, the coach would desire out of a player. Those people I understand. But all I'm saying is certain people, certain careers, for example, should be negotiating for a straight salary. To say, okay, I'm going to the AFCON, a football tournament, but at this point, Copa 90K per game. I don't think Banyana should be tied up the support staff. It should be two different conversations. And for Banyana to start protesting, they really need to focus on other things. At least, I was actually disappointed, or some of them are not members of that players' union. They should be members so that the players' union can focus on these things and have them focusing on the game. Because I saw Kanakimba Jane and Refile Jane and Danny Jordaan taking it public. When Danny Jordaan said, "I can we've agreed," Refile was like, no, we haven't. I was impressed by her courage and leadership, meaning she deserves that belt. But then at the same time, I'm thinking, guys, you'll need to focus on playing. You are fighting for the right cause. You just need the right mouthpiece to do the talking for you. Not like this.
Okay. Let me bring in Julius. Bro, Julius, welcome to the show, my brother. How are you doing?
Hey, Brafan me.
Vincent.
Tell her out.
O renka taba ya Banyana still balwana le Safa.
Banyana what they deserve, guys. I mean, remember the AFCON they won. Is it last year or I remember the AFCON.
Yeah, last
they
year.
Won. There were still issues about payments and this and this and this and this. Why can't this be handled in a better way? 3 months before the World Cup, they sort this out. They agree on this. For now, it shows already. There was never. They just hope when the day comes, we will just see what happens. I'm not saying Banyana are right for what they're doing, but some of the things you solve them way before. For Bona, it's like Banore. We will see what happens when we'll cross that bridge when we get there. That bridge, the bridge is not there. So the issues, even after, I remember after AFCON, here in Limpopo we had I think two or three representatives. I remember the government this side had to cough up money for those three because they felt already there's something that's not right at Safa. I think our house is not in order. If we can get our house in order, let's get the right people there. Let's get. I'm not saying Jordaan, but I don't understand why Jordaan is always elected for second term, what term, 10th term. Let's get people that can sit. Okay, we have qualified for the World Cup. Let's have a meeting on the 13th of this month and we discuss. Ladies, what will you prefer? Then they say, 50 rand. Then they negotiate. Like now it's like they're negotiating. I will not be surprised if they reach an agreement a day before. A day before the game, their first game. Only to find out already. When they get into the game, the mindset they're still thinking about something else. So some of the issues for me, I feel like Safa is letting us down. Banyana, they may be wrong, they might be right, but some issues are dissolving before. Even so that sometimes we as fans, we won't even know there was a certain issue here. I saw the issue here now. Other countries they don't have. Other countries they do.
Spain was on a strike now. I think France was on a strike as well before this World Cup. There was one other country I'm forgetting, but they had similar issues with their FAs.
Yeah, I remember the I can't remember her name, but she's an influential player for France. Apparently, she said she's not gonna play. Until Rana came and said, you know what, we can't let this talent go to waste. We can't go to the World Cup without this certain player. I can't remember her name. So such issues are dissolving way before. So that by the time we get there, our only focus, guys, let's focus on soccer. That group now, when I look at that group,
it's a group of death.
Yes, it's a group of death. But in a group of death, you get a chance more longer. You find a team longer, you win 3 games. That team when it wins 3 games, we have a shout. We have a chance. If the other the team is on 9 points, we can get a draw and a win. Who's to say Sweden we can't beat? Is it Sweden? Yes, we can beat Sweden. I believe our girls can do it. We have capable players who can run those defenses. Then you can get a win. We can get a draw on 4 points. Who knows? You can qualify to the next round. We have seen with Moroka. Now I've seen with Moroka in the men's World Cup. Anything can happen. You are in a knockout game. You draw, let the penalty. It's a lottery. Anything can happen. So, I mean, now for me, Safa House is not in order. And as long as we keep shifting things, we'll always have the same issues. We will still have the same issues, even at the next World Cup. Because it's like we are surprised. The moment we qualify, guys, let's get everything in order. The right people, only alone now. And when I look at things, there was a money that was promised by, is it FIFA? Is it FIFA or FIFA? All the participants, this is the money. For me, when I look at it, it's like that money. If I confuse it, Banyana Banyana, because what this. It's like they were confused. Got that money. So now I'm saying, Safa, let's get our house in order. So let's get our house in order. Let's have Batubai. If the bonus let's not have or Mang played this minutes, Mang give psychologist, Monkey, we're a team there. There's a team. Let's have I remember back your team, for example, why your team Chiefs. Go around Nelena fitness trainer, Barge on Saturday. I can't remember.
Elsa Storm.
Yeah. Do you know the work she put with those boys? Chiefs were excellent on counter attack. They were very, very. You can't say she just because she doesn't get on the pitch and get a man of the match or whatever. So for me, all of them, they are very much important.
No. I hear you, Julius. FK, His Will Ministries, thank you so much for the roses. Let me bring it to Kevin. Kevin, how are you doing? Oh. No. Did you call me break now? It's fine. I'll come back. Let me read some comments quickly. Afternoon. Banyana are the reigning AFCON champions. I hope they can do better than the last World Cup. How do I request? Wallace, you have to be following me, and then there is a button there. Is it multi-guest where you can ask to come on? The girls were first disputing the fact that Safa did not want to put money from FIFA in their contracts. The fear was Safa might end up not giving them what's owed. As far as I know, they haven't signed the contract yet, but they've decided that guys were going to play. The donations made were for Banyana, not Safa. It's not even their money. They must give it to the girls. Quick for any team, please, when you give out bonuses, do you only give the players? I'm not sure. We'll find that out. I don't mind all the 8 million being given to the players and their coach, but support staff, exactly. The money was donated to the team. No, Chief, when a CEO gets a bonus, employees gets a bonus. It's a performance bonus. Backroom, so we forget that backroom staff also contributes to success on the pitch. I think now Banyana will have to focus on the positive mentality, at least for us, because Safa doesn't play. Banyana should not kick the ball. Doesn't care. They undermine the ladies. MK, you have to request. That's how you guys jump on. You have to request. But I'm going to rotate just now. Let me just get Kevin in. Kevin, how are you doing?
I'm good, my brother. How are you doing?
No, I'm great, thanks. What do you think of this situation here? Safa and Banyana still clashing.
It's a sin, my brother. It's an abomination. You've got one of the best teams in Africa. We are the best in Africa. And how do we now go? The world is looking at us, And how do we now go and represent? How does this young woman represent the country? But also at the same time, with all these issues, where are the days of just representing the love for your country besides the problems you face in life? I don't know if I'm wrong or right. Those things, not everyone gets a chance to represent their country.
Yeah.
And, we need to sometimes see because anyone would try to represent their country in any certain platform. But yes, we know there's been an issue with the rights of the woman in this country. But you're there to represent your country. And maybe if you would represent your country and make your country proud, maybe us from the public will come and stand up for you and say, listen, this is what you deserve and this is what you will get.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'm coming from a wrong angle because at the end of the day, we know Safa is finished. They can't lead. They can't even make PSL. We spoke about it last night. They can't even make PSL attractive. So what more to the woman? So that's a big problem.
I think for me, this is the sad part about the state of Safa and the state of Banyana Banyana and why these two parties we shouldn't get here, right? Because Safa is trying to use leverage in terms of we are going to wait until absolutely last minute for us to put a contract in front of you so that you think twice about going against anything that's in the contract.
Yeah, but that should be against the law.
Exactly.
That should be against the law. That should not even be allowed. That should have been to court. You should have went to court because you can't go and represent yourself as a person, considering that this is a job that you're doing, as this is your career. Why is the government allowing Safa to do
Yeah.
this?
No, that's why
So
I was.
are we gonna say then this is maybe this is an inside job? Maybe they're eating all the money that they got from African Cup, from FIFA for them to go. Everyone is sharing there, and they're not looking out for the people that need it at this point in time. How can we still be fighting about something like this when they're already there?
Yeah. No, that's why I was saying that Safa will wait until it's not the first time they've done this, but Safa will wait and I think in this case they tried to overplay their hand, and then what happened was Banyana Banyana in reply went, okay, we're going to wait until the absolute last minute ourselves too. So we'll get on the plane, we'll fly to that side. The fact that contracts weren't signed before they got on planes. We'll get on the planes, we'll fly that side, and when we get that side, you don't have the power, because one of the threats that Safa made was, we'll replace all of you. So we will choose, well, actually, he had chosen a completely different Banyana team and told these ones that we're going to replace you if you don't sign these contracts. Now, Banyana's playing the game of, now you can't fly over 30 more people to go take part. They've already handed in the sheets. I think it's five days before the tournament starts was when you hand in your final your final teams. So now we're going to play our hand there. Now you're going to be forced to listen to what we want, and it may be a situation where they're overplaying their hand. My only problem is this whole situation was not announced there. There was a whole press conference with other stakeholders, with everybody there. I'd imagine they had talks beforehand and things like that. Why then go against that thing instead of not allowing it to get to that point or speaking up in there? Or is it a situation where now, because Big Brother Motsepe Foundation is now sitting in the room, then Jordaan can't go willy-nilly and say things? I don't understand. I want to bring Agent 007 in on that point. What do you think of what I've just said right now? It shouldn't be happening. Either way, both sides, it shouldn't be happening. But now it seems as though Safa saw Big Brother sitting in the room and they don't talk as loud. And then now all of a sudden, you get what I mean?
They saw Sugar Daddy.
They saw the sugar. Yeah, they saw Sugar Daddy sitting there.
I think before I go there, I mean, I think, my concern here is one thing that, just in life, I think we should know when to fight, and how to fight, and when not to fight, that's one of the basic art of wars, So I think, Banyana Banyana now they're overdoing it now, because now I think now in the court of public opinion, now you see now you are starting to have these three areas, but all the support has been piled on Safa, Safa, and I wouldn't have been surprised if after they do well in this mob pressure on Safa, some few people who have dignity, who have souls, not Jordaan, would resign and stuff,
Never that.
So
never that.
Jordaan doesn't have soul. Those people of integrity, would resign, But now they're, muddying the waters, So I'm not, and is a Dane who said sometimes an issue of being patriotic. Let's say for this World Cup, we have fought for our rights, Next international event, we fight for the rights of all, But coming back to what you're saying, and before I make that point, I wanted to say, I think, again, there was confusion, like you mentioned, that Germany was fighting, England was fighting, France was fighting, because FIFA said, now this money is for players. It's not for associations. Associations, you don't decide what you pay or what you don't pay. This is strictly for players, And associations like the FA in England are saying, well, Kind some part of those bonuses that you guys were paying to us directly, you could cover certain costs, So whether that's a valid argument that member associations are making, or they wanted to chew more money, we'll see, But back to your
Because
question.
remember, one of the things that was said was that FIFA allocated money to players, and then FIFA also allocated money to associations for the admin. So there was part of the fight was, but guys, FIFA's giving you money to take care of the admin and all of the other stuff. And bonus, on top of that, you want to take that money too.
Yeah, and I heard the FA boss saying for once they're going to make a loss in the World Cup. So then the question is, are you there as, like ESCOM? ESCOM is not supposed to make profit, ESCOM is there to be a service provider, So sometimes
also,
it's good
that's why,
the wrong thing.
And the other thing is that I can't ask the players. So if FIFA is allocating money and the money is not enough, we sit on the boards with FIFA. You know what I mean? Yes. We sit in the committees, we do all that stuff. Surely then the fight shouldn't be to try to take money away from the players. It should be out. But Kev, as Safa, you guys are not giving us anything. FIFA's not giving us enough. And if it's a fight around the world around that, then you should maybe look to FIFA. You get what I mean?
Yes. So I think it ties to your question, which says is failed leadership. I don't know. Like I was saying, it could be two things. Like I'm saying today, I'm not black and white. With regards to Safa, did they like you're saying? Were they afraid of the sugar daddy and say, no, we'll see them after the sugar daddy leaves. We'll see them. Or it was saying, these people are making an announcement that they didn't agree on, and can come there and correct them. It will be undiplomatic. So I think that's another way of looking at it. But me knowing Safa, that's sneaky. That's the problem with, when I know I can trust you. I give you the benefit of the doubt and say, well, they were being diplomatic, but I can't give them that because I know them. And this is what they do. I think someone mentioned what they did to Abobini and stuff. This is how they operate. So even in a situation where they could maybe be right and say, okay, fine, let's not be fire for fire. We are trying to bring peace. For the sake of peace, we'll discuss that in closed doors. We can't give them that because they failed to give us confidence. So I think that's my opinion.
Okay, no, I hear you. Malume Kuto, same to you. I feel like this situation is two parties that are trying to leverage the hell out of this situation. So Safa was trying to leverage these girls into these ladies into not agreeing with these contracts, into agreeing with certain things. They're trying to now go, you guys tried to do that to us. We're gonna over push. But I think for me the big thing is Big Brother was there, and now when Big Brother's there, people change their tune, and then all of a sudden they go back and start fighting each other. This is just a bad situation, man. All in all, what do you think of that? It's showing me the network side.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. There we go.
Yeah, I know. I missed part of the question there. I only got the first part about leveraging it.
Oh, I was saying they're leveraging it.
The question.
It shouldn't be like this, but also it seems as though now there were third parties involved and chances for these things to have been taken care of behind closed doors. But now it seems like it's all surprises to everybody. What do you think of that?
The players couldn't have played their hand a bit too early because firstly, you're not even in the squad. You don't have a call-up. You negotiate on something that you don't even know what you'll be involved in. That would just be suicide. The minute you voice out something, they just think, you know what, I am not calling up this player, but we hear your grievances. Maybe next time. What they can do right now is just to sign the contract, but just be informed and right with we sign.
I think you're cutting them.
You just fill in the under duress. That way, Hey, it's bad. It's bad. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. It's on and off. So try carry on.
Okay. But so what I'm saying is just sign the contracts, but be clear with the contracts are signed under duress so that should they see it to court or a specific forum, then you can cite to which, this was signed under duress. This wasn't the actual contract. We had to carry through a specific mission. Yeah, no, it's a very poor connection, but I hope I'm clear. I hope I'm
Yeah,
clear.
no, I can hear you. I can hear you. Let me bring in MK. MK, welcome to the show, my brother. How are you doing? I let you in. You're in. How, MK? Or is it me?
I think
Good day,
Mike.
guys. How are you?
No, I'm good. You're inside, my
I'm
guy.
alright. Very sad, very sad. I've been hearing the whole story. It's very sad, but we can only wish Banyana Banyana the best at the World Cup. Hopefully, whatever the argument is, it will not affect them, which it already affect them by the last game before they left. But to come into everything what we're talking about and what I'm hearing, guys,
Yeah.
we also need to know Safa got different departments. And in Safa, there's guys who got a lot of influence. I don't want to mention names because I'm a former player myself.
Okay.
Yes, I'm a former player myself, and I know the rules. It happened to us 2001 when we went to play the Olympic in Sydney. Also threatened us about contracts and things and telling us about winning games and bonusing and everything, which we won all the games. We only lost the one against Brazil. And when we got back and we were talking about bonuses, they said, you didn't deliver the way we wanted to deliver. But guys, South African Football Association is not taking none of the industry serious in football of men and in football of women's. What I've picked up, they don't see the value of the women's, what are they bringing into the country of opening doors for the young generation who's also coming into the industry of football. Because to us now, it looks like it's a big embarrassment. Because as agents was saying, Agent 007 was mentioning about the contracts. Yeah, you see, contracts are a little bit tricky because you must know some of the girls got background, they don't understand anything about contracts. And they don't have any representative who can say, okay, right, fine, let me deal with this girl, then let me be their agent or manager, let me sign their contracts. And the reason why the girls will be excited and also said, you know what, guys, if they say to us they're going to cut us and they will not take the whole team, they will send us back, that is highly impossible. Because the rules of World Cup, you already have your 30 players on board and you need to sign them in. But you need to finalize them 5 days before you leave.
Yes.
Who's all the players? You see now is a threat to those girls, which is so unfair, which we are all looking forward for those girls to go and represent South Africa. But now, when it comes to the contract clause, it's very, very, very hard. It's something that we will not get involved in and we will not finish it. It will take us another 10 years to get involved. My suggest, what I can say, if they...
I think you just muted there by mistake. Okay, there we go.
If they can just... Yeah, no, it was a call coming in.
Okay, there we go.
If they can just remove... It was a call coming in.
Okay, there we go.
If they can just remove...
Yeah. Okay. MK, I'm going to come back to you because it seems as though there's a bit of an echo or something there. Come back to you because it seems as though there's a bit of an echo or something there.
Just take me out.
Yeah, I'm going to take you out, then I'm going to let you come back in. His Will Ministries, Baba Mfundisi, welcome to the show.
Thank you. How are you?
No, I'm good, Baba Mfundisi.
I'll try to be simple because I'm an old timer, right?
Yeah.
I'll try to be simple and straightforward, and I stand to be corrected. Number one, Banyana Banyana, or rather all national squads are national assets. That's one. So this matter needs additional attention. So I'm asking myself why we do not have people like Helen Suzman Foundation drag Safa to court, CASA drag Safa to court, and all civil rights organization and the women's rights organization dragging Safa to court to the extent that they get people's attention with a threat to ban Safa. And then that will be good, because we do not have an organization that is taking care of our football. So I'm worried, because as far as I know, I stand to be corrected. Only government is not allowed to intervene into soccer, but nothing stops these civil rights organization, women's rights organization, including political parties like GA, like ANC, all other EFF, drags support, because we are not talking about Sundowns players not being paid or Pirate players. We are talking about national team. Now, if Banyana Banyana is a national team, therefore I'm calling DA, EFF, ANC, Helen Suzman Foundation, raise your voice and threaten to intervene and take Safa to court to the attention of FIFA. Then FIFA will say, if people are interfering, then of course we will ban Safa, which in my view I want that. Until we get to that stage, we will always going around in cycles. Why Jordaan is there? What is the problem? Where is the money? Why under 23 is not active? And where's under 2? All of that, we're going around in cycles. Now, let us take steps and involve this union that represent players and bring people like Tulima Donselas and all the leaders, because we are not talking about a football club that belongs to Chipampengesi or belongs to Mando Shabalala. We talk about national asset. And honestly, in my view, I think the bodies that represent women are now betraying young girls, because if a woman is raped and or killed, they will flock to courts. They will be in the media saying this and that and marching. They are silent now. Why? Because these are girls. And first, the previous speaker was saying the problem with contracts, it's very tricky, because these are legal issues and these are young kids, right? Even very well educated players and agents, they got tricked by contracts. So drag Safa to court to answer and allow FIFA to make threats to the extent that if they want to ban us, let us start afresh, because we have around about 10 years now, Safa, killing both men and ladies soccer. So those are contribution for now, and say, let's get this a national attention. Thank you very much.
Okay, no, thank you so much, Mfundisi. In 007 SA, I feel like we have some parallels here from what we were speaking about yesterday, where we mentioned that a lot of these players don't have. We are asking a lot from the players to be able to do these things for themselves, instead of maybe bodies and external parties and other people coming together and looking out for these players. We've spoken about how, players, technical teams, national teams, all of that. We've spoken about how Bafana Bafana had the same fights Cabo Delron Barkley. The same fights 2010. MK spoke about the Olympics. All of these things, it seems as though, man, why aren't people who've gone through this and done this, why aren't they the ones to say, you know what, guys, let's organize so that we can avoid these things for other players? Because like we said yesterday, to ask a player, for example, who's in the PSL now, who's earning money, to also have foresight enough to think about their future and get that right, it's unfair because not all of them are going to do it. And then now you have a Banyana situation where the threat was basically made by Jordaan to basically go, it's fine. Now you think you know everything about contracts and what. I'm going to leave you guys behind and I'm going to go get somebody else. And it doesn't seem like there's any recourse. And now we're facing strikes and all of that stuff. Why isn't the rest of society, man, getting involved, especially those that have gone through this before?
Yes, I think, I don't know. Before I go to answer your question, I think, I don't know. Am I, because I think the issue here is Safa versus Banyana Banyana and technical and support staff, you know?
Yeah.
So I think the support staff themselves, they have the technical know-how to negotiate for themselves, you know?
Okay.
Because since they are individual practitioners, they have their own unions, you know? So unions should be the ones who have been saying, but, you know, like for example, you know, like I just thought of a solution that, you know what, since these guys are getting what they call daily allowances, you know, from the 8 million or 6 million just given by Motsepe, why can't they, you know, 10% thing and still keep fine, will bump up your daily allowance by 1,000, you know, while the majority of the money goes to the technical team and the players, you know. And I think that's the duty of the union of those employees, because when they have unions, they are affiliated to unions, you know, and they have the technical know-how of contracts, you know, unlike players, you know. And with players, back to your question, is what we discussed yesterday, you know, and what MK and Abuti and Pastor, and I hope Pastor prays for me. I have a trip to Malawi. So, back to what you're saying, that they don't have the skill or the necessary knowledge, you know. It's only who have a bit of experience, but even the law terms, I'm not sure if, you know, they can negotiate from themselves, you know. Hence, back to the point that I made yesterday, that union are the ways to go, you know. I think Safu, you know, the intentions perhaps were good, or perhaps they were advertising themselves that if you guys, if all of you guys affiliated to us, this could be us fighting, you know, because individual agents cannot fight against Safa. It has to take a more organized collective effort, you know. So hence, my encouragement to players would be, let's join unions so that they can fight for these people, you know. And as for the rest of other people, you know, why are they not fighting for these people? It's like I had Babam Fundisi saying political parties and stuff, you know. And the question becomes, is there mileage in there? Political parties are after mileage, you know. Some people are after mileage, you know. What am I gaining to benefit, you know? Even some was gaining to benefit of increase of membership, you know. That's why they were up in arms, because they know after this, you know, more ladies will join and say, this guys fought for us, you know, so we'll join them. So I think the solution is unions, you know. Say what you may about them, but we need unions. In as much as players need agents, they need unions also for more of an organized fight. Yes.
Okay. Hey, Mara, you know, the union is taking Leon. I've got problems with them. That's why I wanted to focus on people that have been through it. You know what I mean? Like,
because, yeah, like if we take people like Bo, what does this lady, this white defender, I'm sorry to say white.
Janine Van Veek.
Yeah, Van Veek, you know. You look at, those are the people that can be listened to, you know. Those are the people who have a certain level of, you know. Safa can only listen to push here, you know. It goes back to saying there has to be collective bargaining, you know. Unless those former players themselves say, let's form a union. Let's call it former players union. You know, we're going to fight for the right of players at international level. You know, that's when they can be listened to. Or even if we take an Evan Veek and say go to Safa, he will become another Bamburia. You know,
that's why. Yeah, exactly.
You know, so it has to be an organized collective bargaining and say, you know what, as former players, we are forming a union. You know, and again, it has to become an issue of saying, you know what, how do you convince these ladies that, you know what, as former players, they must be affiliated to our union? Because there's no free lunch, my brother. You know, there's no free lunch. You can't just do things for mahala, you know. Even if you have money, it's going to drain your funds, you know. So it's up to the players, former players, to say, let's join hands together and form our own union and say we are dealing with matters of female in the sports, you know. So yeah.
Okay. No, I hear you. Malumi Kuto, we spoke about this yesterday as well when we spoke about the contracts of players. My question then becomes, why aren't former players, people who've worked with them, stuff like that, why aren't they keen to take on these things? Because from my point of view, Safa, the PSL, all these people are always going to have the upper hand whenever it comes to these things. And then it's going to become a situation where we're always going to have to strike very last minute and always have to trying to do those things, right or wrong, right? That it always comes down to this. Why aren't people who've been through this before, who always talk about it? We see their podcasts, we see about TK Solutions, we see all these people. Why don't they, man, play a bigger role in trying to fix these things for players that are coming up?
I think I'm audible now, ne?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there is a collective of former players which I just don't think Wabareta. And that's Bontlanhla Shabalala. I'm disturbed that these players have joining that union, because it took just one play from Safa to dismiss the union, to say, show us the membership. Why didn't those players rush immediately to say, okay, clearly Labasheka? That's the reason why they're asking for membership. Let's join the union. I really think players are not playing their hand, Libon. They're not mobilizing enough. I know we need former players to join and assist and maybe highlight a couple of issues like, look, if you do 1, 2, 3, they'll catch you out in this way. If you do 1, 2, 3, then they can't catch you out. I mean, I'm just thinking, these players, do they have PR for themselves as individuals to grow their brand?
Yeah.
If one of these players, I mean, I follow them on Instagram, ne? But it's about nice life. No one is really actively trying to secure sponsorships for themselves. So that in the future, if Jermaine Sopesino is a Nike affiliate or a Nike ambassador, Safa can feel it if she's not part of global. Her presence is there. We've got 2, I think, KEF former player of the year.
Yeah. Nokumatlo
and did Ulora win it? Khatlan.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, Khatlan. I believe she did that year.
How are they not riding on that? How are they not promoting themselves so that they have currency over Safa to say, look at me. Do you want the world to know what you are leaving behind? You are treating KEF winner football player like this. Do you want them to see with you are kind of getting careless with your assets? And in that way, it will chase away other other sponsorships. If Jane was a Nike leader and King a Nike ambassador, Khatlan was a Nike ambassador, it would be pretty easy for Nike to approach Safa. Okay, let's leave apparel brands. Let's go for maybe Samsung, iPhone, what. If these brands were associated with these players, Safa would know, you know what? If Fifia says, I want XYZ, let's give her XYZ, because next thing she's going to turn on us. And she has currents saying, social currents. Why is none of them? I'm sorry, I know, you know what? Football players are young people, ne? And I understand I'm going to be unfair on them right now.
Yeah.
But I'm going to ask this question. I am yet to hear or see, maybe they're doing it behind closed doors, any of the Banyana Banyana players show us their kind of give back vibe. Going to a high school, showing which, you know what, this is not an a W for me. It's a W for the entire community. In their negotiations, I did not hear them saying, look at women's football, or it's in shambles. Can you take 5K from each of us and give it to the player of the tournament in that department or whatever, in provincial what. They're not. We're fighting for people who seem to not be fighting for us. I like what one of the panel guys said, Ka Ishiabo, Helen Suzman Foundation. Those guys will be on TV fighting against government. I remember when, I think it was Fili Mbalula or Hemen Mashaba, launched Operation Fiela. Those guys went to court to say, why are you calling it Fiela? Are you saying people are rubbish? You understand? They went to court for something so petty. This is something pertinent. This is something big for the nation. This is something the Women's League, they said they would defend one of the president with their palms. This is something they should be defending with their palms. In this case, the palms are necessary. Sorry for the language. But you understand? Instead of saying equal rights to us when we are sitting, this is when they should be taking to the streets to say, why are players being... Instead, it's just me and you, Andile. It's just a group of guys reacting to this. How is it not them taking it upon themselves? I think it's very... man. No.
That's what I'm trying to... I think that's what I'm trying to get to with a lot of the conversations we're having, right? Because I feel as though, especially South African football, anything goes, né? And we see the same cycle of things happening. This was what Abo Portia fought about. Now what Desiree fought about. Now Abo Refilo fought about. Now it's going to be the next ones who are going to fight the same thing. Same with the PSL. I get a bad contract today. I get a bad contract next year. There's a bad contract 10 years from now. Then we're all on TK Solutions talking about how, hey guys, this and this and this. Why isn't there a drive, man, to fix these things? And I want to step away from Abu Helen Suzman Foundation. Yes, they should be into this. I want to look at the people who stay complaining, who stay talking about it, who stay going on podcasts and tweeting and all of that stuff. As people who've gone through these things before, how do they get involved? You get what I mean? Like, I don't know what a Banyana contract looks like, for example. I don't know. I would never know what a Banyana contracts look like. But Abo Portia and other people know exactly who Tiazin guys. Clause they saw. Or they can go get people who maybe they form a non-profit organization or whatever, an NGO, and they bring in lawyers and people like that in order to help these players. But it can't be that we're always leaving it up to the players, because trust and believe, Safa has lawyers ready on deck. You get what I mean? PSL teams have lawyers ready on deck. PSL teams know exactly what they're doing. Safa knows exactly what it's doing. You get what I mean? They know the bylaws, they know the front doors, they know Danny Jordaan doesn't even have to know everything. There's teams of people, right? So it's like, why are we not then looking into those things, especially people who've been through these things? I think that's what I'm trying to get to whenever we have these type of conversations.
You are right. Safali, PSL, they probably have in-house lawyers and
they know what they're doing.
You understand? But I'm still gonna put it on the players who are playing currently, because I was watching the TK Solutions when Tebo Molefe, or was it Tabang Molefe?
Yeah.
Cosmo. Leona, he could have elaborated on that point, that look, this is what the players union did for me. Something I did not know. They just contacted me and said, look, you've got monies that you haven't claimed. Go and claim them. I feel like you should have labored that point, canvassed that point to say, players, this thing is not just writing black and white, then you strike. It actually has financial repercussions that are actually positive for you. You stand to gain something by being a member of the players union. It's globally recognized. The fact that the French league can say, hey, you know what, there's this guy, we doubt he knows about this, call the players union, they'll assist him. And the fact that when they called him, he was surprised, like, oh, I've got money. Why are these players not doing that? I mean, they should be. Well, we've heard Bopeni where they've tried, but come on, man. Like you know, as I'm trying to go hard at these players, I always have to remember a 23-year-old in a normal life is someone who's still living at home. A 23-year-old in normal life is someone who's still dependent. Apart from football, a 23-year-old really doesn't get kind of 115,000 off the bed, fella.
Yeah.
A 23-year-old is very getting more 8,000 stipend there, here and there. Always in fear I might lose this 10,000, praying, cross-nighting for all of these things. I understand. But for a 23-year-old to be getting that money, it does somehow trick the mind. But the older generation, they've been in that situation.
That's exactly.
And it shouldn't be your Steve Likolias, your Junior Khanyes, and with all due respect, I'm just pointing them out because they share specific traits. Your Jabu Pules, it shouldn't be the bad boys in Jalo. They are good guys. Your Bongani Kumanos, or guys who have a good image. Maybe they did it behind closed doors. Your Bongani Kumanos, just Bongankosis, your Teko Mudi says, guys who still hold that currency, a former player, a respectable former player. Because I know the psyche of a person when you're not in the best frame in terms of life, how we're like, what are you telling me? So if it's people who still have a good life, then the players would be able to listen with, okay, this guy is living well. Maybe I could also get to that level. So that's the guys we should be asking. The ones I just mentioned, just like Bongani Kumar. Bongani Kumar, those are the guys who owe the country.
Okay, no, I hear you. Let me bring Bamfundisi. Why then, you mentioned Dabo Helen Suzman, all these people. Why bangafuna ukuzingena lezi zinto? Them, but also previous players, guys that have gone through this. Why do we allow it? Even as South Africans, there's a lot of things we allow to happen over and over again, and we don't help each other. Am I frozen? Yo, way.
Yeah, okay. No. Even, I think we are finished. Even if those players they make voice, they don't have financial muscle to take on Safa. They don't have legal background. They don't have legal resources to take on Safa. They are individuals. They can be of good assistance to these players. They've been through to the situation. But the truth will always remain that Safa is a big structure. They have resources, legally, they have financial resources, everything, and they can just fend off whatever attacks coming from Dr. Kumalo and all these other players because they are an organized structure. Now, in the absence of football-based organized structure who's going to look after the interest of players at a national level, not at a club level, at a national level. Because let me start here, Andy. When you are drafting contracts for Banyana Banyana and Bafana and all national teams, who gets to see those contracts and vet them and then make sure that they are fair to the players and fair to the nation? No one. And in my mind, Andy, that is the work that lies in the door of the National Sport Department. It must form a that to be independent, to look after the contract, to say, okay, Safa has drafted this contract, and let us have a board that's going to look at this contract and the consequences of those contracts. So my point here, Andy, is that in the absence of that structure, where are the women's organizations that always march against the abuse of women? Because to me, this is purely an abuse to these young girls. It is equal to rape. It is equal to murder. Now, players like Helen Sundowns Foundation and Kaizer, they've got financial and legal strength to take Safa to court. Once you do, then FIFA will jump up. And once FIFA jumps up, then the issue will then get their attention because everybody would like to know why FIFA is now banning South Africa. Of which, in my view, in my understanding, we do not have a national association in South Africa. We do not have that.
Yeah.
So if we have that, we should have the under-19s, the under-20, the under-23, and all those national teams are now like dormant because politicians. I would ask to be forgiven, Andy. We have two guys in South Africa, in my humble view, who are hell bent to stop Ivan Khoza and kill soccer because they want to stop him. Those is Jordaan and Patrice Motsepe. Those two collide to make sure that Khoza doesn't grow as far as they are scared he can go. Whether I'm wrong about that, I would accept if I'm wrong. But Jordaan is there because his really agenda was to make sure that Ivan Khoza doesn't become the chairman of Safa. That's what happened. And he collided, in my view, with Patrice Motsepe. And I don't know whether you knew, the only thing I saw Patrice Motsepe was the cabinet.
Yeah.
Yes. But to close, I want to say, in the absence of a body, because there is a space here, Andy, of which ombudsman the players go to other than the union. What those contracts looks like. And boys as well, because if you go and play for Bafana, you are a youngster. You can go and play there if you are over 35. You are a youngster, you are 17, 16, 25. You are still young. So somebody must look at this contract and say, we have a board that is going to look into the contract in the interest of the nation, and then say, oh, these contracts are good, we all know them, and those contracts must be published. Must be published must be published. Everybody must see them and know them. There must be transparency as to what they get, why they get that, what is expected of them, and everything published, so that no one is going to have like some hidden arsenals behind the carpet and then attack the players. Those are my thing. I stand to be corrected. I apologize to Sundowns supporters about Motsepe, but I don't see him contributing in South African football. He never contributed. He built his empire, make Sundowns like a giant and kill other players and and other teams, which Kaizer and Irvin Khoza stood for, and says, let us have all teams have equal resources and compete on the equal footage, on the equal ground. Until Motsepe and kills Kaizer teams and kills Pirates and kills all other teams, and his team became a giant, like a lion, which is not in the interest of soccer if you really do like and know soccer. That was his to be great and go to CAF. Now, South Africa itself, I'm calling like Helen Suzman Foundation, CASAC, Tolima Dontela, all civil rights groups who represent women in issues of gender-based. This is an issue on the table. They must talk. Thank you. I'm still listening, Andy, unless you want to correct me.
No. Thank you, Mfundisi. I think Batambita Andy when I go that side to Kaizer.
Sorry for that.
Hey.
Ngumzulu mna see ngiyasinqomula nesingisi siyahlafuna
ngiyakuzwa babamfundisi ngiyakuzwa. Let me bring in Hendrik. Hendrik, Andile no whatever. How are you doing, my brother?
I'm good, my brother. You?
Tell me what you think about this situation here.
Yeah, I'm good.
Firstly, before I ask you the question I've asked everybody, just quickly tell me what you think.
Now, I normally say that it's not only it's not only South African's national team that's dealing with this issue, and then we must not think it's only South African national team, women's national team. In America now, there is this fight that we are having. It's still going on. You understand? So I normally tell people, like, if these players want resources, want everything that the guys have, they must like equal to the task. Let's be honest. None of us. Can you please name me 5 or 10 Banyana Banyana players? most of you don't know. Can you please tell me the captain of Banyana Banyana, what team does he play for? We don't know. We don't. Even the ladies that are saying equal rights, equal pay, can they name 10 Banyana Banyana players? They don't. But I'm 100% sure that if I can go to a lady and say, name me 10 South African men's player. Abu Doli, Abu Mamang, you see, so it doesn't have the, let me say, the resources, because it doesn't attract too many people, my brother, and that's thing. And they will never have resources like that until things change. It's not only in South Africa, even in the US now, they are fighting for equal pay. And then there was this guy that said, if you want to be paid the same as men, make sure that you generate the same revenue.
But in this case, in this case, it's monies that it's not necessarily about revenue. It's FIFA gave a certain amount of money to them as players. So they said each player must get this and this and this. So the first fight was that the ladies wanted these things in their contracts. So now this is now FIFA's money that was granted to them. Then secondarily, they said to Safa, when Abu Bafana Bafana or other national teams go play in a World Cup or whatever, they get bonuses attributed to them. So I believe in the 2010 World Cup, the Bafana Bafana players were guaranteed something like 40,000 a game, each of them. So it's about 120,000. So then the Motsepe Foundation came in and said, okay, we will take care of the bonuses. So we're going to give each of the players 230,000 Rand on top of that. And then we're going to give the technical team 115,000 as bonuses. They'll cover it. There was 8 million or something like that, right? So now the fight is that Safa got that side and told the ladies that, listen, we're not going to pay the technical team Leo 115,000. We don't agree with it. They're on salaries and all of that stuff. But the issue is you didn't say it when Motsepe Foundation gave the money and said, this is how the money is going to be given. And you waited until it's a situation where they're forced to play. So now Banyana's playing on Sunday, and these guys are saying, guys, just sign the contract and agree to what we're saying. It's not necessarily about the revenue part of it. It's about, here's the monies that were promised, and there's fights happening with those monies, allocated funds, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense, but still, it also interacts with what I was saying, but on a long journey. I understand. Yeah. So in other words, the people that allocated the budget for these ladies are the ones responsible, if I can say most, because they were given money again, and then to distribute. Yeah, they were given money to distribute it within the Banyana Banyana, I could say, department, right? So it means they are the ones that misused or maybe failed to balance the equation when it comes to balancing financial situation in the squad. That's right. So now I do believe that even if Banyana Banyana can get the money that they want, I think they are disorganized, my brother. They are not organized. Like they are literally not organized. They like, even the players, man, all they do is complain. They don't go out like this. I don't know if it's the Umfundis who went said, why don't they approach this women organizations, that like power and things like that, so that they could get help, in terms of doing things. You understand? So they are disorganized, man. That's one thing that I can say. Like, people will always blame Safa. Even if Safa gives them 2 million, people say Safa. They are disorganized, man. Like,
but this happened to Bafana Bafana too. Don't forget that this also happened to Bafana Bafana too. And it might happen AFCON. So it's not just the women. It seems as though Safa does this to all the national teams. Abotekom Dise were on strike 2010, for example, before their first game. Abotelon Parkley before them. It seems, and I think the conversation I also want to have is, it's also a bigger problem in soccer in general. So, like, you find players complaining about their contracts with teams. You find players complaining about pay and things like that with their teams. And we spoke yesterday about, for example, the the guys, for the PSL players, who's protecting those guys? Because I, as myself, I can't fight Ivan Khoza or Pirates, for example. I can't fight Chiefs. I can't fight Safa like that. The only thing I can do in the case of what Banyana just did is to go, guys, if you're not going to listen to us, we're going to wait until it's absolutely impossible for you guys to swap us out, and we're going to fight. So how then do we build those things? Why aren't former players, why aren't people who've been involved in these things previously coming out and helping these players? You know what I mean? We speak about the union. Shouldn't the union, for example, it shouldn't be 2 weeks before we go. The union should be jumping in from jump. So as soon as Safa gives out contracts, as soon as I get approached by a PSL team and somebody gives me a contract, shouldn't there be somebody who goes, guys, we understand that not all of you have the resources, not all of you will be able to afford lawyers or understand financial management or whatever, but we're going to step in on your behalf at a national level for all things contracts in the country. What do you think of that? Hendrik, or am I off? Hey guys, please tell me I didn't. Okay, I'm still on.
Is it me that's taking?
No, go for it. I think there's a small delay.
All right. Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but you remember there was a conversation that we had about Safa. Like one thing that we must know is Safa is messed up, my brother, to the core, rotten to the core. One thing that you must know is Safa, it's messed up, and then we've been saying with everything about Udeni Jordaan, and then why is he still the the chairman of Safa, because he's not giving. Yeah, the president of Safa, because he's not giving Safa anything. We even said that why don't people like Ulugas Radebe approach and then contest for that position, because they were in that situation, the same situation Banyana Banyana is in. They were in that situation where they were not paid, they had difficulties getting their salary and stuff like that. We said that why don't people like that get those sort of positions? And it's still a mystery today. So I think, unfortunately, even if there is a union, my brother, even if there is a union, it depends on how that union works. Have you ever worked in an office? Let me tell you, have you ever worked in a company where the union office will be closer to the offices of the CEOs? Like it means, have you ever, serious, it's like this, like working in an office, like working in a company where the HR, human, I think it's the HR office,
human resources,
it's between the office of, the HR is in between the office of the chairman or maybe the CEO and also the deputy CEO. Nothing is gonna get fixed, my brother. So now I think, as much as Banyana say that they've got unions, I believe that they have unions, but that union is not standing up for them, my brother. And then even the same thing as Bafana, So like, but Safa on its own, it's rotten, and then unfortunately things need to be changed. These players will continue to complain. We will also continue to complain about performance and everything, because South Africa now, it's not about soccer, it's about politician. Imagine Manje like Udeni Jordaan. He doesn't have the soccer knowledge. How does he get that position? He doesn't have the soccer knowledge. Someone who has the soccer knowledge has gone to school. Ulugas Radebe has gone to school. And then we can't give Ulugas Radebe that position. He's educated. You can hear when he speaks about ideas that he has. Even Robert Marawa said, why is Udeni Jordaan still the chairman, the president of Safa till this day? Nothing is giving. So unfortunately, people must not make it seem like Banyana are the first people to experience it. Even the guys, they experienced it. I remember with Tiko complaining about it. Thank you for reminding me. I remember Tiko complaining. There was a time where he said that I don't have the hard enough to represent my squad because of the things that are happening. So this thing has been happening, and then unfortunately a real cabinet reshuffle must happen. Like, there's this pastor who said, Umfundisi said something about Motsepe. You see, whether we like it or not, now we can see him as a generous person that gives out money. Now I think that guy has a big influence, I'm telling you, my brother. And no shades, like I'm not shading anyone, but I think people that have a lot of money and then they invest in South African soccer, that money can give them so much power. Like for instance, he can open up another league. I had a problem and I told you that why does this league like, let's say for example, why does Motsepe has to introduce a league and then name it after him? Motsepe, you know, he wants to show you who I have arrived. I am
and
there.
then the second question you ask is why they're allowed to do that by the PSL, for example. You get what I mean?
Yes. Why the PSL allowed it to be like that? Like, imagine, man, I come, Matlo Premier League, and then, my brother, as soon as I start to, even if you can go to Premier League or Spain, they will never allow you to rename a league after you, unless maybe a trophy, maybe like you play for it once, but they will never allow you to name a league. You know what's a league, my brother? And then it's a promotional league. It's not like any sort of league that they play in Skukune. No, it's a professional league. Like it's a league that the whole country plays for. Every team plays for. Understand? So it shows how much power that individuals have. You know, Safa doesn't have power, my brother. It's a political circus in there. Like, Motsepe does this own thing, Jordaan does his own thing. You will be surprised one day you come up and say, oh, Ramaphosa is somehow involved in Safa. Mark my words, my brother.
I can't get brother-in-law. Already involved.
Vele, you see. So, my brother, Banyana Banyana, we are proud of them. But one thing, they must not make it as if like they are the black sheeps in this manner. Bafana also struggled. So they must know, no, you know that this thing is happening to us and then it happened, you know. So it's time for us, maybe like it's time for us and then the players of Bafana. It's also going to happen to Bafana. If they qualify for the World Cup, you will see flames. Yeah, it's also going to happen. Something is going to happen.
Yeah, it's AFCON, right?
Yeah, AFCON, you see, it's coming. So something would happen. Now I suggest to these people, whether you like it or not, you must take your employers to court somehow. Like, I think Banyana Banyana and Bafana should somehow reunite and do something about it. You can't just say, the current Bafana squad, they must not sit down and say, no, Mara, it's not happening to us. We must relax. The time it is going to happen to us, to you guys, there will be new ladies that will say, well, no, it's not going to happen to us. So the cycle will continue. So now one thing that I'm saying was this. Number one, these two teams must unite. Forget about the pay gap. Forget about things. Fight for these things. The pay gap, we'll see it later. Fight for these things. Like, get yourself legal representative. And then contracts will be drafted. And then, like, you will know how you are going to get paid. And then how it will also sort out this thing of revenue. You understand? Like, for example, in the US, I don't want to talk for a long time. Like, for example, in the US, the women, they when they are told about contracts, let's say, for example, we're giving you ladies new contracts, they take the whole squad, and then they tell you your contract is going to be generated by how many wins you have, or if you win a trophy, you get this, or if you do this. You see, in South Africa, is that thing done? No. I don't know if it's done because USA and England women's team, they don't get complaints like this. It's only a South African thing. So I think whether you like it or not, Bafana, it's going to happen to them. Imagine every time when they have problems, Motsepe is the one to take out money. Here is 10 million. Here is 1 million. Here is what. It should tell you a lot, my brother. It should definitely tell you a lot. Seriously. Like now we took out money to give them. I think it took out money and said, no, hey, this is the money. Use it because you want to travel. What was this thing of them participating for World Cup? He gave them money. It's going to happen to Bafana. He's going to do the same thing too. It should alert you that why isn't that Safa itself funding these teams or paying these teams in a rightful manner. Like, guys, let's be honest. Safa is screwed from top to bottom. Ori, I don't know. I don't want to use a word. You said that I must be PG.
Yeah, please.
PG. So
let me
Safa is messed up, my brother.
Let me just
Safa is messed up.
Let me read some of these comments here. It's sad what is happening to Banyana. I so wish they can be equally paid. Who's not paid, Kante? It's the technical team. It's not easy, boss, for them to talk because they have big boys involved there. There's no tender involved. You won't see political parties come in. Safa just want to benefit from this World Cup. It's really sad how these people put their pockets first. We need to overhaul Safa leadership that has been going on for too long. The players' union is paid by Safa, so they can't carry the interests of the players at heart. TikTok is the main reason I quit paying DSTV. Now I'm watching TikTok Sport. Hey, Mr. Miani, thank you so much. The same Khoza that rejects sponsorship deals for teams. The same Motsepe that sponsors almost every division in the SA football except top flight. But the same Bafana, we no longer know them. We never play... You never play soccer, so I won't understand. Idiski is not taken serious in SA. Our games are just politicized. And Jordaan has been there for too long. Banyana must complain. Tomorrow will be the ones that say they've drunk their money. Guys, they're helping to speak about such issues without representative from Safa. Maybe we need to... they're not going to come, those ones. I've been trying to get teams and them to come. They're not interested. EPSA sponsored the league and it was called the Premier League. We don't need Safa representatives, but the leagues are named by company names that sponsor the structure. Company name, the only thing, Danny should be out. Glad Africa sponsored NFD and it was called Glad Africa. Okay, Mfundisi, we'll see you. Safa is run by politics, not people. I think the issue is not the company or the name. The issue is the conflict of interest. It's the same argument we have about you can't have Irvin Khoza, who is an owner in the league, also deciding on league issues, for example, because then obviously if my team is facing some stuff, we've already seen Chiefs skirt COVID things and things like that. So for me, it's one of the things where you go, there should be conflicts of interest. So if I own Sundowns and I fund a league, right? Not saying, let's say allegedly, and I fund a league, right? What am I getting in return for that funding of the league, especially in a PSL where anything goes, right? I always use the example of Umamkize bought Bloemfontein Celtic 2 weeks before the league started while facing a disciplinary. That was a decision made by the executive of the PSL to sit down and do whatever, get past those rules or whatever, right? So those are the questions you ask because of the conflict of interest. It's not the name. The name doesn't really matter, but what has been given and what has been returned in order for this money. I'm giving you this money to run this league. It's a lot of money. Can I ask favors later on? I can go to Danny Jordaan and say, hi guys, I wanted to run for CAF president. I need your vote to put me there since I've never been in your structure, right? What can Danny Jordaan get from Motsepe in return, vice versa? It's questions you ask because that's the nature of our league. So it's the conflicts of interest that is the issue here. Glad Africa, as far as we understand it, isn't part of the PSL structures. It's a sponsor, right? But if a sponsor is part, it's why presidents can't have businesses, because we think that at some point you'll use your influence to influence the business. For example, you have to declare and decouple and whatever. It's not done properly, but those are the rules. It's the conflict of interest, nothing else, right? So that's the issue here. And then in terms of this thing, guys, again, I want to take it down to us as people, normal, everyday people. When you sign an employment contract with a company, it's backed by labor laws. So there's certain things a company cannot do to you, and there's certain things that a company, I know implementation of those things is a different thing, but at the base core of it, there's a law that runs behind that thing to make sure that even if I am the most wasteful person in the world, I'm still going to have the UIF, I'm still going to have pension funds, there's certain clauses that companies can't put in, there's certain things companies can't ask me to do, all of these things, right? My thing is, why don't we have this for even soccer players? Why don't we have a functional body that is separate from Safa, separate from PSL, maybe in some cases separate from FIFA, that goes, Banyana Banyana, Bafana Bafana, you guys, you're about to sign a contract. We're going to step in. Whenever there's a contract that's needed or legislation put in, whenever there's a contract that needs to be passed, we're going to step in. And we're going to say, okay, this is right, this is right, this is right, and we're going to look after this player. Have legislation like that that protects people and their monies and their futures and all of that. Because if we keep putting it up to players singularly, we're going to carry on seeing the same problems. And the ones that don't face these problems is going to be a flash in the pan, or it's going to be somebody, usually it's foreigners who don't subscribe to a lot of this. Their agents don't necessarily care about the PSL or Safa or whatever. So we need to create these things for the players to protect them, because, again, it's not to Safa's benefit that people know their contracts, because then I can't crook you. The way that it almost happened with Banyana Banyana, for example, now with their FIFA monies, right? It's harder for me to do that. It's harder for me as Irvin Khoza or Kaizer Motaung or Tim Sugazi or any of the owners to come to a player and go, hey, I'm going to give you 10,000 Rand as a salary, right? But if I know my worth and financials and I've got the right agent, all of that stuff, then it'll be like, yo, this 10,000, you're robbing me. But if I'm coming from a situation where I don't have any of that, where a lot of the players come from, then it's for them to benefit as a team. So I think that's why I'm like, it would be awesome to have an organization, even if it's a non-profit or whatever, to have an organization that goes, guys, for players, I'm going to step in at the point of contract, not after, not in front of the cameras, not to try get this. We're going to step in, or we're going to force government to legislate across the board for sports. We're going to go do this and this and this so that our players aren't robbed, because this is what's happening. And one last point from me. Remember, Safa has legal teams. The PSL has legal teams. The company you work for has legal teams, right? They know exactly what they're doing. I know people are looking at Irvin Khoza and thinking, yeah, guys, but what? They know exactly what they're doing. We cannot expect a player who's 17, Otswankasi, or a player who's playing in Hollywood Bets, for example, which is coming along, but it's not very, very good yet, to know everything about financial management, legal, this, that. It can't be. Even you right now, most of us can't. You wouldn't be able to know what's happening legally in your contract, to know how to stand up for yourself and all of that stuff. That's why there's legislation. Agent 007, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you just, we're going to look towards the World Cup. How do you think Banyana's going to do in this group of death? Do they have a chance of getting out? And then your closing statements for today.
Let me start with the question so that I don't forget it. I think Banyana will be knocked out in group stages, and I think what they could do is fight, with their heart on their sleeves. We need to say these guys, they're in the group of death, but they fought. These are African champions. They didn't die willy-nilly. They fought. I think that's what I'm expecting to see. I don't want to see Abu 6, Abu 8, and Abu 10. Win like respectable scores. Lose by respectable scores. That's that. And before I give my general
thoughts, we'll call it thoughts. Yeah.
I think it will be based on what you're saying about policy and laws, But before I go there, I'll be doing myself a disservice and Sundowns fans a disservice if I don't say this, I think the difference between, I think there's a conversation that we should have one day, we should look at the three bosses, three main bosses, Mr. Motsepe, Mr. Khoza, and Mr. Kaizer, and I think Kaizer for me is the one who has honor among the three men, because he's not holding any position of power, Yeah,
he's vice chair. He's a vice chair with Irvin. They sit together.
He's always quiet, man.
Irvin took the thing, but they're vice chairs, and then Irvin also sits on Safa.
So yeah, I think the difference between these three men, I had Babam Fundis is saying Motsepe this, Motsepe that. The difference between these men is the difference between a black and a green mamba. If you remember that before Motsepe busted the bubble of the big two, they were the ones who were holding all the sponsors.
Yes.
Other teams were there, and other teams were down there. So I think, and sometimes we should be fair. I don't wanna say I'm defending Motsepe because he must, I support Sundowns. Even Chief should not defend Baba Kaizer, and like you're saying now, you're exposing him that this guy is there just because he's quiet. Doesn't mean he's not there. He's there. So you should expose all those guys equally. And we should also be appreciative of what they did for the game. Baba Kaizer and Baba Khoza, they did well, and Motsepe they took the team to professionalism. Baba Kaizer and Baba Khoza, Motsepe took it to another level. And we should also be thankful for him that he's sponsoring all these things. But again, and also people should remember that Danny also was not always the bad guy. There was a point where Danny was good. And he just failed to read the room. And just like other singers who sing past their prime, so he should have long stepped out, but there was a point when he was good, so sometimes you should be appreciative of those guys, and back to what I wanted to say in general, leaving sports and club politics aside, in England, the FA always has this general meeting, where sponsors, league chairmen and everybody meets, and they discuss what has been happening in the past year, so that we correct it. But the defense is important. Yes, I have to defend Sundowns. I'll be singing that they would say at the stadium. But anyways, during those meetings, the annual AGM, they look at what has been happening during the year. What should we correct it? Last year, is it this year? I think January, somewhere there, they had what you call a Boyle law, which says you cannot sign players for more than 5 years because you're signing players for 8 years and spreading it over, There was once a Glazers law which said you can buy a team using leverage, So why are we failing to have such kind of meeting where player agents, league chairmen and everyone sits down and says, okay, fine, what has been happening during the year and how can you correct it? This year the main topic was Bafana and Banyana, So the annual meeting should have an agenda saying how do you deal with issues so that we avoid further embarrassment. I mean, there should be a difference between with due respect, between the way South African handle things and the way Zim handle things. You can't be on the same thing as Zim, because these are things that we see in Zifa, So you shouldn't be seeing them in Safa. And again, back to what Abuti Tep was saying. Abuti, I don't know.
Malume Kuto, you can come back. Malume Kuto request so you can give. I just see his comment here, so just come back and you can request. Yeah, you were saying
about what Abuti Kuto was saying. The problem becomes everyone is for himself. That's the main issue. Everybody's negotiating for himself. Like about the Ini were negotiating for themselves. They never negotiated for future generations.
Yes.
Banyana now are negotiating for themselves. They're not negotiating for future generations. The main argument should be we are not signing thing unless this thing is put as a policy that money coming from FIFA goes straight to our bank accounts. This should be what we are signing for. Now, but because they are looking out for themselves, they're saying, no, give us money now. They're not saying in 2 years' time, another group of kids will have the same problems, So how do you solve it? It must be a policy, Otherwise, you're going to have a repeat of issues, even in contract situations. Should be things which should be addressed at that AGM and say, you know what, from now onwards, an agent must do 1, 2, 3, 4 because we've seen 1, 2, 3, 4 happening.
Yeah.
So I think that's my view.
I think they're all working together. I think that's why I'm stressing so much for outside parties because I feel like our league, man, I feel like there's way too many situations where you're like, somebody should have stood up for the player. You get what I mean? At some point, like, okay, maybe the team should give a better contract. They know they're giving a bad contract. But the agent or the managers or whoever's advising the player should be the ones that go, man, but this is a bad contract before it's signed. You get what I mean? But I feel like everybody is in cahoots with each other. That it's that thing we spoke about this yesterday. That the agents know that if I screw Sundowns today or whoever I screw Golden Arrows today, I'm not going to be able to bring 7 of my players that I want to bring to Golden Arrows. So I will sacrifice you so that I can keep this relationship with Arrows going, for example. So I think, man, there's something. But anyway, no.
Like what Hendrik was saying, you can't expect officers to be near and expect difference. Like Makabu, he's a former of Pirates, former coach, if I remember well, of Pirates. So you expect, hence I'm saying, and I think sometimes is after the Jordaan, after, because I know nothing will happen under him. We must be having a structure. We must advocate for a structure.
There's plenty of deputies that Jordaan has. No more.
No, that's why we can't. I don't think we can unseat Danny now. He's like what is this president? We stay for long. We have to wait for them
to be
like Mugabe and stuff, so that they die in natural death and we can replace them. I think there has to be a change of structure. But you know what? Another thing with Safa is making unilateral decisions, But Safa is a representative of players, is a representative of unions, representative of agents, They must have an equal vote, in the city. So the structure is wrong. It must be corrected, And again, to provide collusion, there must be, I don't know if I can say a review system of saying, player so and so, how do you review this person? If a person has maybe, let's say, 50% bad reviews, he's struck off the roller coaster, That's the only way you can hold these people accountable so that they don't collide with each other.
Okay. No, I hear you. Yeah. No, I hear you. That's going to be a tough one because the problem with our country is that we're asking the people who are meant to provide this oversight. They have to provide oversight on themselves. That's the issue here. Hendrik, what do you think Banyana Banyana is going to finish in this group? What do you think they're going to do at this World Cup? And then your closing thoughts for today.
Hey, first and foremost, Mr. 007, I think misunderstood me. When I said about the HR office being in between the CEO and then the deputy CEO, is because I said that they must not be like that because a player or a worker or an employer would be afraid to issue out any complaints and stuff like that. The HR office has to be far away, and then it has to be far away, and then the HR manager or the HR person must sign a non-disclosure thing to not discuss what you reported to her or him to the CEO. So that's why the HR office has to be far. Many people don't know this, but the HR office is supposed to be far away from the offices of your CEO or your general manager, because you must not have the fear to go there and report them if they are not treating you in the right way. Banyana, I think they will be knocked out very much early, my brother. Psychologically, they are not fine. They've been fighting for money. It's not the first time. First time they were fighting for this and Motsepe took out the money, and now they are fighting for this. Like my brother, I think psychologically they are not there. They will be knocked out. I believe if everything was sorted like before, I believe that 100% they could have at least go through the next stage. But now I think the group of death will literally be the group of death for Banyana Banyana. Sorry. So they now in my heart, deep down, I know that if everything was sorted with Banyana Banyana, they could have made us happy. These ladies, they perform. Let's be honest. I know they don't get the financial backing, sponsors, but they perform. Whether we like in women level, in women's football, they perform good. But unfortunately, this thing of them have to be dropping out because some things happen. Safa disappointed them in a way. Like it psychological is not fair, my brother. Even everyone, every pundit will tell you, from Ivan, from Dr. Kumal will tell you that this has a huge impact on their performance. It will have a huge impact on their performance. Understand? Imagine every time they are threatening not to play, and then they bat out. And when they bat out, now they have to put in younger Banyana players. So in their mind, they are not okay. They don't have that hunger anymore. They are disappointed, and in their minds, I know that in their minds, they are literally saying that the country that we are trying to play for and make sure that we put on the map on the women's football, it's not begging us. I know, for instance, that's the minds that they have right now. So I don't believe that their minds are in a right situation now to perform good. I believe that they will maybe win one game, maybe by lucky draw, but I don't think that they will go through, my brother.
Okay.
And the way forward,
my
brother. Hey, my brother, you saw this thing of Banyana. My brother, Safa, Pila, my brother, as a whole, like, even if Jordaan steps down, someone else is gonna step in, and that someone else is gonna be a puppet. Like you put it nicely when you said, Hori, like when Motsepe takes out money, I doubt that he has much money, yes, but what does he gain after that? You should be afraid when someone just gives you 2 million. What does he gain? What does he gain afterward? Maybe he's solidating his place, maybe to get his uncle or the person that he owes a favor to get a position at Safa. You don't know. And then I stand with you, my brother, when you say, Hore, they should get help from the outside. Definitely they should get help from the outside, my brother. They should get help from the outside. Because, you know, the people of the Irga Safa, they give these ladies contracts based on their benefit, not the players' benefit, their benefit. It's like they are being used. You understand? It's like Lawyer Raya Musho, my brother. Do you think that Lawyer Raya Musho, state law, will go toe to toe with you and make sure that you win the case? Like they will say, my brother, the case, you lost it. Just plead guilty and then you're done. You see, that's how they are playing these ladies. Like they don't give them a person that can represent them from their perspective. They get a person that represents them from Safa's perspective. Yes. Understand? So both players, Banyana and Bafana, they should get someone from the outside. You know, get a famous lawyer. Like I'm pretty much sure that if the union the union belongs to Safa. This thing is messed up. The union could of those teams, of those serious man, is messed up. This thing, the union still belongs to Safa. But the union of Safa and of Banyana just come together. See if they can take out money and then hire a famous lawyer or someone that knows how to do the job and then negotiate contracts for these two teams, Banyana and Bafana. Without outside interventions, unfortunately, nothing is going to be done. And nobody can say, we must not include anyone from the outside. We have already included Motsepe into this situation. Motsepe it doesn't get anywhere. So obviously, outside intervention is already there. So also, these players must learn to get help from the outside. Because wanna know, check now. You said something about Umtuana or Tlago Kai coming into play. They don't know the full law. They don't know everything. Understand? These girls are hungry. They can play soccer, but they are hungry. Understand? So when they see a Banyana contract, they just sign. They take it, my brother. They take it, they sign. And even some soccer players, they need the extra cash. Imagine if you are playing for Baroque and then they see you've got potential. They say you have been called. Yeah, you're gonna accept. You're gonna sign that Bafana contract and say, well, at least I will get extra money. At least I will get this because I'm not getting enough at Baroka. Maybe I'm getting 50,000 at Baroka, and then Bafana promises to give me maybe, let's say for example 70,000 or what. I'm gonna take it. It's extra money. You're not earning lot. So they take them. What I can say, these contracts are offered to them in their time of weaknesses. It's the same thing with Ambitious. You know Ambitious record, if I can give you an example. Ambitious record indoor, that they take you in the slums. They go for you in the village and say, low, some niggas are 3.5, you know. Bab niggas at 3.5 with a house in Santen or somewhere. They rent it for you, and then when you lose, when you say that you want to go out, you go out with nothing. Understand? So these players sign without knowledge because they are being... what's this word? Like they take advantage of them.
Yeah, they've been taking advantage.
Extortion or something. Like the extort. Yeah. Yes, extortion. Like they say, they sign them from like these players are desperate. Definitely, they will agree with that contract. These players are desperate. They will agree with that contract. So, Banyana Bafana, the new unions must come together and then get help from the inside. Outside help is the only thing that can help. You cannot tell me that a lawyer from Safa, and they say that it's a legal representative for you, will stand up for your right. My brother is employed by Safa. When his SMS comes in for payment notification, it says salary in Safa. That's messed up.
I'm going to have to just catch you off the now. Thank you so much for joining me, my brother. I'm hearing, man, people are dying about this. Guti, Banyana not going to make it out of this group. Can you offer me some light, man, and also your final statements on this?
I'm looking at 4 points for Banyana. I'm really looking at 4 points. Argentina, when it comes to women's football, I think the only relevant people are the top 10. Anyone else outside of the top 10 is not as strong. The number of people who have been participating. So the fact that Argentina is number 26 doesn't really scare me. I don't think they are as strong as their position suggests. So I'm looking at 4 points. I pray that we've got 5 great players in attack, world-class players. We've got Orefilwe, super player. We've got
Linda.
Katlane. We've got Linda. And then we've got who I think is the best of them all, Jermaine.
Yeah.
Jermaine is quality.
Jermaine.
And then Uqesane. Uqesane is explosive. She can actually play. So she's a good option if one of the 4 is tired. So if Katlane can keep fit, if Jermaine, I know her body is sharp, fitness. But mostly, if Katlane can keep fit, we can surprise. We can get 4 points. Whether it will be enough, that remains to be seen. It will be enough if at least Sweden.
Yeah, because Sweden might get maximum. I think Sweden will get maximum points in this group.
The trick is to mitigate the damage that Sweden might cause.
Yes.
At least maybe that one niche. So they must not be ashamed. They must go in there and pass the pass. That took Moroka to the finals. You understand? Go in there, play. You saw that guy was chicken licking. Play 9-1-0.
Get back, Mazibugo. Get back.
But there was a jab at
Rivera.
But it's fine. If we can play 9-1-0, it's fine. If we get a point against Sweden, I'll cry. But yeah, that's my take on Banyana and their performance. Also, I just have a problem with the goalkeeper. But I was listening to Ulwana Ari.
Andile.
Andile. I think was he talking to Janine?
Okay.
Because I know Andile Dlamini's backup keeper was quite, with all due respect, quite big. Yeah. She did not look like a soccer player, but I heard Uchin saying she's taking care of herself physically. Okay. So I hope she really took off Bomber 5. Guys, I don't body shaming, but I really hope she lost a bit of weight so that she can be agile and all of that. So with that, if she's on point, then we've got a chance. There's a movie about an American Gangster.
Yeah.
Where you don't know who the real mafia is. Guys, don't underestimate Kaizer Mduduzi. Just because it's quiet there. Kaizer Suze, just because it's quiet, it does not mean it doesn't have decision making power.
Kaizer Suze. Or Kaizer Suze, the guy Walutu.
Exactly. How build on Kaizer Chiefs. That if you look at that institution and how big it is, it will tell you how intelligent he is, how good he is at playing his cards. You understand? So if people are trying to exclude him from the back group, you're mistaken. I think it's time also soccer players as a whole, not just Banyana, look at themselves as entities, as a business. If you look at Orlando Pirates, Chiefs, iPhone, they're not just there playing soccer. About Chasing think it's okay. They've got attorneys, they've got coaches, they've got support staff. Enough. Even players, you need that. You need your PR guy, you need your attorney who's going to read your contracts, you need your accountant who's going to help you balance those books, and pray that Aska Europa. Call agent 007. I think he can assist Lena Kadibuka. Call the necessary people, and at this point they have to look at those guys. Baba, state attorney. I heard Hendrik taking a dim view on the state attorney. That's unfair. Those guys just have a lot of work. They can actually assist. So those are my closing remarks. That Banyana Banyana must start taking themselves as entities.
Hey, did you mute there? I think you just muted there for a bit. Just say that last part.
Network, it's having
Oh.
no. Yeah, it's having me, and it's manhandling me. But thank you for the great show. Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining me. Malume Kuto, get better, my guy. Okay, when I look at this group, so I told you guys that Sweden is ranked number 3, Italy is ranked 16, Argentina is ranked 28, and then Banyana is ranked 54. But the nice thing, the nice thing about a group of death is that you would think that Sweden is going to take all 9 points. So that means if Banyana can sneak a draw and sneak a win, maybe win against Argentina and draw against Italy, you never know where it could go. Agent 007, you must give us your details, man, so we can use you. Let me read the comments quickly before I close. Khoza should step down as president. Publishing player contracts will put players at risk. Lack of transparency, defense is important. Keta says he loves my channel. Thank you so much, my brother. Thank you guys for all the gifts. The Department of Sport and Recreation, together with SASCOG, should hold Safa accountable. Here's my thing, man. And I really want us to, because I feel like we look at sports differently. I really want us to look at, even in our general lives, where you are working, where you are working, right? When you're looking at where you're working, how much of a difference would it make if everybody knew how much everybody was making? And I know there's questions about safety and all of that stuff, but now I know ukuthi yazini uzodwa uhola 9,000 and mina they're offering me 8.5 and I'm making more. When I go into that negotiation, then it'll be like, "Hi man, but I do more work than her. I should be getting 12." But if I don't know, maybe I think with 8.5 here, it's crazy. And I know I'm using small numbers, but this is just in everyday life. Now imagine it in sports. You get what I mean? I always say I watch international sports. In the NFL, everybody knows that everybody earns. And it's more for when my contract is up, when I'm up next to get a contract, I know, and my agents know, and the teams know, Guti, Kuto set the floor here. Now, when I negotiate, I go higher. So it's one of those things where it will always keep going up if you allow it that way. But you then ask the question, who does it benefit? For me to be 18, I don't know how much Mduduzi Shabalala earns. I don't know how much Blom was earning 50,000, whereas there's people earning 500,000, 600,000, I think 900,000 within the same team, but I'm playing way more than that guy. So when I come to the negotiation, it makes it look like, the way we're speaking about Blom, that he doesn't want money, but when you look at it, there's a guy earning 10 times what I'm earning right there in my team, right? So it's things like that. Like, these are the questions we have to come and ask each other when you're looking at the structure of football, the structure of everything. There's a reason why contracts are willy-nilly. There's a reason why agents can hide things, or you're not earning as much, or some agents may want this signing fee or this, why teams offer that, why they do that. And again, it's not for the player. It's not built for the players to go forward. So I can't ask Safa, I can't ask the PSL, I can't ask the teams to look out for players, because it's to their detriment as a business to look after these guys. You get what I mean? In the NFL, there was a strike, a lockout. In the NFL and the NBA, there was a lockout season where the players all said, we are not going to play until there's a collective bargaining agreement put on the table that outlines rules, how we're going to engage. It outlines what's the minimum you can offer a player of 8 different ages. It outlines different rules, how we share the profits, how we do all this stuff. And until that happens, if you leave it up to players to have to know how to navigate, I don't think that's going to work out for them. Let me see. Peacock says, I like your interactions, my brother. Thank you so much, Peacock. MK Sports Business Analyst says the Department of Sport and Recreation, together with Tascock, should hold Safa accountable. And that's why I'm asking, Guti, it feels as though there are plenty of bodies that already exist that are meant to be looking out for people, but those bodies seem to have colluded amongst themselves, right, in order to protect themselves and their own interests. Like I made an example earlier of a team, if everything is fine, shouldn't be giving you a trash contract, right? But if they do give you a trash contract, your agent is meant to look at that contract and say, no, but my guy, one ropa here. Or these clauses here, here, and here, that one, you're cheating me here and there, right? But we've seen now that they don't necessarily do that. You get what I mean? The league should have put in rules that say, this percentage of your salary is meant to go towards a pension fund or UIF or this and this and this, regardless of where you are. It's for all players, right? They don't do that. So now I'm saying that we need to create outside groups and organizations that are going to step in and go, guys, we're going to push for legislation that's going to protect these players. We're going to get the contracts, read the contracts, keep the contracts on file. The South African Players Union right now doesn't even have contracts on file. They can't even tell you what's in my contract. So then it's only for if I'm now I have a grievance, when it should start from all the DDC players should have been approached a long time ago to say, guys, we're going to come in and look at your books. We're going to come in and look at your contracts and make sure that these teams aren't messing with you. But I think it needs to be on a broader scale and maybe a non-profit organization where other players that have been through this come in and help the guys that are going through this. These are African champions. They'll definitely go to the semis. The ladies are in for the right frame of mind. Exactly. There isn't knowledge before signing. Banyana can get maximum points in the group. Sweden is the only stumbling block. Mushiba, I'm good. Abadali ganti Sunday. Yes, they're playing Sunday. Their first match versus Sweden. Funny enough. Mabuti Kutso, thank you for the advertisement. Yeah, please, agent, you must share your stuff, man. Nati, we may need you soon. There'll never be that share. Your pocket is private. No, I understand you, but I want you to understand the reasons. Because I think we frame the pocket, we frame the pocket argument from our point of view instead of framing it from the people who stand most to benefit. You get what I mean? And maybe the players inside and agents know, but outside, there's a reason why, other reasons why your salary is not known by everybody. Probably cry. I'm sure there's a lot of us who work in places where if they were to announce everybody's salaries today and put it on the table and go, there'd be fights tomorrow. You get what I mean? So these are the questions we have to ask. Guys, if you haven't followed, please follow. Also, if you want to watch any of the previous lives, any of the previous conversations we've had, it's on Facebook. I do this every Monday to Friday, 12:30 in the afternoon. And then every Monday to Wednesday at 8 p.m. I'm here on Facebook. There's also other content, other footballing content that I think you guys would really enjoy on that side too. Please follow that page. I'm almost monetized. And it's the best way for you guys to help me. Keep this up. I'm trying to find ways to fund this so I can do this properly. Full time, proper. So let's see, union of some sort of, or somebody to mediate when they enter the league to ensure their future. You will faint if you find out. That's what I'm saying, that some people are earning all types of monies that you guys don't know about, and the company can give you random things that you wouldn't know. Desiree Ellis is a true legend of South African football. I never used to be a fan of Desiree as a coach, says Raymond on Facebook. before the WAFCON win because I thought Banyana played boring football, but I've since realized that she just plays to our players' strengths, which is speed on the counter-attack. I'll never forget the historic win from our girls against a hostile Moroccan home crowd. Good luck to the girls, but the World Cup is a whole new ball game. But at least they qualified for the World Cup, unlike Nkwe. I hope and pray that Banyana Banyana can progress from the group stages. Don't talk rubbish about Banyana Banyana. They perform better than Bafana. They were promised equal pay, and equal pay is what they should get, in my opinion. Banyana should actually earn more than those useless cows of Bafana. Those Bafana players have been getting big salaries for not even qualifying for the World Cup or the AFCON for over a decade, whereas Banyana Banyana have won the AFCON and gone to the World Cup. That is Raymond on Facebook. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I will see you guys then again tomorrow. I think tomorrow we'll have our quick fire rounds. It'll be a lighter show, and we'll see. But I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for joining me. It's been amazing. Thank you to the panel. The panels are great. But anyway, thanks guys. I'll see you tomorrow.